Amen Corner, so much can happen in that 3-hole stretch.
The history is there. We get to see it year after year, and we get to remember the good and the bad.
There's your champion.
And the beauty of it all is everlasting.
You go through there and you get done with it. He says, man, amen, man. I'm done with that today.
There it is. Can you believe it?
Keys to the Masters. Secrets of Amen Corner.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill McAtee. Every spring, our focus turns to Augusta, Georgia, as we renew our love affair with the remarkable living canvas that was created by Bobby Jones and Dr. Alister MacKenzie. And within those 18 holes that have become so familiar to so many generations is Amen Corner. When the name was first created by the sports writer Herbert Warren Wind, it referred to the second shot at 11 to the tee shot at 13, but has evolved now over the years to encompass all 3 holes, where so much Masters history has been made. And if Augusta National represents the heart of the modern game, then you can make the case that Amen Corner is its soul.
It's iconic. The risk-reward on 11, 12, and 13 define exactly what that golf course is about.
And he's pulled it right at the hole. Look out!
It's got danger, and it's got risk, and it's got temptation. As a result, it has big stroke swings.
You could play them very well and go through there 3 under. You could also walk out of there with quite a big number.
You got 3 holes that really epitomize golf. You know, you got par 4, par 3, and a par 5. I mean, that's golf, isn't it?
When you get on that 11th tee, you're very aware of where you are. If you play that hole, even par for the week, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to be in harm.
And then you face the meanest little hole at Augusta, and it happens to be the shortest.
The 12th hole is probably the most beautiful, diabolical hole I've ever played.
That's the disaster hole where anything can happen.
You never know what the wind's going to do down there. I mean, you can see the flag on 11 going one way and the flag on 12 is another way.
And the 13th hole is that risk-reward par 5. It's beautiful, it's strategic.
So when you think of those holes, that's usually where over 4 days the tournament's going to be won and lost.
The brilliance and imagination of Bobby Jones and Dr. Alister MacKenzie is witnessed annually between the dogwoods and azaleas, down the rolling fairways, all the way to Rays Creek. Along this path nestles the perfect intersection of vision, beauty, and the game itself.
All 3 of the Amen Corner holes, 11, 12, 13, are beautiful reflections of what Alister MacKenzie and Bobby Jones wanted the entire course to be.
The intent from the beginning on the whole golf course, and especially Amen Corner, was to require the player to think.
MacKenzie and Jones, 2 brilliant men. MacKenzie, a surgeon. Jones, a brilliant lawyer, Harvard educated. And they both had incredibly compatible ideas about golf course architecture. Jones felt that a course that didn't leave a player opportunities to escape from trouble diminished the distinction between a great player and a good player.
Following the first Masters in 1934, the decision was made to reverse the nines, having the field begin play at the Masters as we see today in the current 1 through 18 layout. It was a decision made for practical reasons, but one that would alter golfing history.
In the first Masters, the hole that today is the 10th hole was the first hole. That's where the course started. For the second Masters, the holes have been switched, and the course was played in the order it's played now.
They changed the routing because it was susceptible to frost. It quickly transformed into some really pivotal holes.
Jones felt that it was the more exciting 9. Just almost inevitably led to great, exciting finishes in the tournament.
It wouldn't take long for this stretch of holes to prove decisive. In 1937, Byron Nelson won the first of his 2 Masters with the pivotal turn of events occurring at Amen Corner.
There's never been a bigger flip of strokes than there was in 1937 when Byron Nelson caught Ralph Gouldahl. Nelson made up 6 strokes in those 2 holes and basically went on and won pretty easily.
Decisive swings would become a recurring theme, as history would show, while a player could lose ground at Amen Corner, calculation and execution, they could make a charge as well.
05, Tiger Woods opens the Masters with 74. Doesn't look like he really has it. Wake up Sunday morning, he's 4 behind Chris DiMarco. He birdies 11, 12, 13. Within an hour, he's now 2 ahead of DiMarco. He put himself in to win that tournament by birdieing Amen Corner.
You can shout with all you might, but if you ain't living right, there's no use shouting in that Amen Corner.
It was a Sports Illustrated story on Arnold Palmer's 1958 Masters victory that World Golf Hall of Fame writer Herbert Warren Wind first coined the term Amen Corner from an old jazz tune titled Shoutin' in That Amen Corner.
Don't stop that shouting in that Amen Corner.
Now those words and the man who provided them are forever linked in the lexicon and history of the Masters.
Stop that shouting. Stop that shouting in that Amen Corner.
Man, he was one of the most fascinating people I ever met in my life. He was a brilliant writer.
I think he would have been embarrassed that the thing that sails through all these years later is this term that he came up with on deadline. Year-round, he was in tweed. He was always impeccably garbed, but the clothes were not always in the best of shape.
He was very formal. Someone would come up to him and say, "Hey, Herb, how you doing?" He'd say, "Very pleasant to see you today."
Herb was extremely modest, very smart. He went to Yale, went to Cambridge.
But I don't think he owned an unstained tie.
Stop that shouting in that Amen Corner.
Coming up, we start our journey through the most famous stretch of golf in the world.
On 11, it was a blind tee shot. For a number of years, there was a pot bunker in the middle of the fairway that you couldn't see from the tee. It was a hazard like many hazards on the old course at St. Andrews, where there are bunkers in places where no modern architect would put them, but they eventually removed it.
But even without that bunker, the 11th hole at over 500 yards has become one of the most challenging par 4s in all of golf. Testing every aspect of a player's game, both physically and mentally.
Amen Corner is all about 11. It's really just getting up there and thinking about getting a good drive out there.
You know, you want a shorter club into that hole.
Here's Dustin Johnson.
So you're trying to roast a driver down there.
If you can set the tone and hit 2 good shots into the heart of the green, you're fine.
That's a great line.
It's one of the more intimidating second shots.
Everybody's aiming for the very right edge of the green, and you're trying to put it somewhere over there.
That's a good shot.
And I think, you know, Hogan always said it best there. If you ever see him left of the hole there with his second shot, you know he's pulled it badly.
If you can go for the green, go for the pin, great. If not, you bail out to the right. The farther you play safe, the harder the third, and that's the way it should be.
You don't have to hit a bad shot to make a double there or make a bogey and take your momentum down a notch. But you go through and you make a birdie, or you make a really good, easy par, all of a sudden you're standing a little bit taller.
It's a good effort. It's a great effort for Jason Day.
Despite its location early in the second 9, White Dogwood has played an outsized role in writing Masters history.
There's your champion.
In 1987, it was the local man, Augusta native Larry Mize, who became a part of Masters lore. In a playoff against 2 of the generation's giants, Seve Ballesteros and Greg Norman, Mize chipped in from the swale to the right of 11 to win the green jacket.
How's that look? Words do not do justice to the greatness of that shot.
One of the best things I did is I never went back to that spot and re-hit the shot. Now, every time I see the shot, that's the last time I hit it.
For one player in particular, 11 is truly special. It was there where Sir Nick Faldo claimed 2 of his 3 Masters victories in playoff. The first came in 1989 when he slammed the door with an exclamation point after Scott Hoke missed a putt to win on the first extra hole at 10. The opportunity for a second green jacket for Sir Nick came the following year against 1976 Masters champion Raymond Floyd, again in a playoff, again at the 11th.
And I said, well, I want to just hold it. And I set up like I was on level ground. And anyone that plays the game, when you are down and the ball's higher, it's going to go left. You have to compensate for that. And I didn't.
That's water.
Well, I was at my bag, you know, working on my yardages. I just glanced around and I went, well, he's hit it already. I looked up and saw the ball going. So Ray came up and just took the club and hit it.
Raymond Floyd in total disbelief.
I think he just played it all so quickly. And then you're trying to do your maths. What has he done? And I mean, so what can he make? And then if he drops it here and he does it, and you're like, so you still got to...
Faldo's got to sort through his own emotions. He knows the door is wide open again.
And I went with a little half-8. I had a wonderful little shot. And we just held it just right at the flag.
That's exactly what he's done. Leaving the door open for Nick Faldo.
I didn't feel like I was choking. I think looking back and being honest, the pressure of the situation made me make a mental mistake.
In an unusual turn of events, 1990 Masters champion Nick Faldo.
Coming up, the Pivotal 12 and its unique place in Masters history.
The hardest hole to build on the whole course was 12. It presented a huge engineering problem because that green sits on what was just a rock ledge above Race Creek. And when the builder first saw the drawings, he thought it was a mistake, that there couldn't possibly be the intention to put a green there. For years, they had trouble keeping grass on that green.
For the players, the walk from the 11th green to the 12th tee, while short in distance, can be memorable. Coming between the acts of 11 and 12, it is a stage where the presence of the patrons can be powerful and even overwhelming.
Being a participant, they cheer. But being a past champion, they stand and they cheer. A little louder cheer.
The way they applaud you, you know it's a respect.
Often you get goosebumps just walking up towards the 12th tee box.
At the same time, you don't want to get caught up in it because you're trying to still compete.
It's just nice. It's a lovely feeling. Thank you very much. Everybody applauds. Great. And then you turn around and look at the 12th and you go, okay, now we've got to find a way to play this thing.
Now you're hoping on that tough, difficult hole, after your shot, you get one more cheer.
Once on the tee at the 12th, the possible options can be stifling, especially with the swirling breeze.
I would say 12 hole is probably more intimidating than me and the other holes on Amen Corner. Just strictly because you don't know what the wind's doing.
You often look at the 11th flag and it blows down. Then you look at 12th flag and it's blowing into you, and then you throw grass up on the tee and it's going across. My head spins around looking at everything, trying to figure out where it's going.
And then you try to look at the top right tree tops off 13T to see if the gust's coming through.
Don't be afraid of the shot, because if there's anxiety or doubt, that's usually when bad things happen.
When you hit your ball, you kind of hold your breath as it's flying through the air, hoping that it finds the green.
I don't care where the pin is on 12. I'll take it in the middle of the green every time and never complain.
Not all of the memorable Masters moments at 12 are well known, starting with Claude Harmon's hole-in-one during the 47 Masters when he was paired with Ben Hogan, who followed Harmon's ace with a birdie.
There's a famous story about Ben Hogan and Claude Harmon. Harmon and Hogan are playing the 12th hole. Harmon makes a hole-in-one. Hogan makes a birdie. Hogan says, you know, Claude, I don't remember the last time I birdied that hole. What did you do?
Coming into this year's Masters, Curtis Strange had recorded the most recent one at the 12th in 1988.
I admit, I pushed it a little bit. You never aim to the back right hole location, and I did, and it went in.
Then there was the disastrous 13, recorded by four-time Masters runner-up Tom Weiskopf in 1980.
Oddly enough, when I did make a 13 one year, that was the first time I ever hit the ball into Race Creek.
With water lurking to punish any errant shot, the players know a big number is always possible.
The ball bounced back into Rays Creek.
But one of the tournament's most memorable moments revolved around what the ball didn't do. It came in 1992 when Fred Couples arrived at 12 with a 2-shot lead.
I just assumed that if I could get this ball on the green, that I'd be in great shape. And I didn't get it on the green, nor did I put it in the water. It didn't hit high enough on the bank to pick up speed.
It's impossible. Ball doesn't hold up there.
It just doesn't happen. You cannot land a ball on the bank and stop in 6 inches. You go, don't fall out.
Well, you got to know circumstances. Why did his ball stop?
A lot of rain that week. Otherwise, that ball doesn't stop on the bank.
They hadn't been able to mow the bank.
The improbable. The break of a lifetime, you know. But without that break, we probably wouldn't be talking here. I probably would have never won it.
Coming up, unraveling the mysteries of one of the most famous par 5s in the game, the 13th.
There's an old aerial photograph of the Fruitlands nursery property before the golf course was built. And you can superimpose several of the holes, and the most obvious one is 13. And Mackenzie himself said that he didn't so much design it as just find it in the ground. And you can see it. It just, I think you or I could have designed it.
For most players, their arrival at 13 represents the first real opportunity on the second 9 to challenge par. Even executing off the tee is not always essential. But what the player chooses to do with his next shot can alter the fates considerably.
It's not a long hole, but it does something that Jones and Mackenzie both were very interested in. They liked reachable par 5s. A par 5 that everybody had to play 3 shots to, you know, what advantage did a good player have? Everybody's playing 3 shots to it. But a hole like that where, you know, you have to make decisions.
The second shots, whether you choose to lay up or go for it, if you're hitting the ball the right way, you're going to have a good look at birdie.
And I think it's one of the hardest shots on the golf course because not only is the ball above your feet, but you have a downhill lie as well.
It's like the bank in a Daytona, that fairway, and on a downslope.
The slope is tough. You know, you have to obviously work the slope into your shot.
That's why you see so many balls end up in the water on the right. They're trying to lift the ball up in the air and get as much height on it as possible.
But the green helps you. The green is a buffer, you know, into that slope, kind of a handbrake, gets the ball to slow down.
In 1954, amateur Billy Joe Patton seemed to have the green jacket within his grasp until a fateful decision at 13.
Here's Hogan and Snead fighting it out, but really Billy Joe Patton's beating them because he played high-risk golf. He comes to 13 and he takes 4 wood, I think from a funny lie. He didn't catch it perfectly and he put it in the creek and made 6. And so he lost the Masters there.
But if one shot exemplifies the overall philosophy and design intent of Augusta National and Amen Corner, it was delivered by Phil Mickelson in 2010 after his tee shot at 13 found the trees and pine straw.
As I was pulling out the 6-iron, Bones asked if I was sure that I wanted to do this.
You're like, he's not laying up. You don't lay up with a 6-iron. And you're like, 6-iron? I'm not even sure. Is that enough club for him from there?
That at some point in a golf tournament, you've got to trust your swing and you've got to pull off a shot.
To do what he did there, being a lefty, it does help with the iron that he was trying to hit. I mean, it's still pulling off a shot on 13 at Augusta. It's nothing easy.
It was the kind of excitement that both Jones and Mackenzie designed the course to provide.
With one swing on one of the most iconic stretches in golf, Phil Mickelson earned a place in Masters legend. It is fitting that Amen Corner is the location of 2 of the game's most iconic structures, the Hogan Bridge at 12 and the Nelson Bridge at 13, named in honor of pivotal moments from 2 of the Masters' legendary champions. It was there that Lord Byron, with his wife Peggy, paused for quiet reflection only months before he passed away at the age of 94 in 2006. For patrons during Masters Week, Amen Corner is a cherished destination. For the game's greats, it can be a place for quiet, but sometimes shared introspection.
A perfect putt.
Filled with personal memories that become threads in the tapestry of their lives. For players, patrons, and millions of viewers around the world, Amen Corner has come to embody everything that Bobby Jones, Dr. McKenzie, and Chairman Clifford Roberts wanted in the masterpiece they envisioned in Augusta, where generations of the game's greatest players have taken the stage at Amen Corner, challenging themselves with the complexities that lurk beneath its beautiful exterior. 3 holes of golf, created almost a century ago, that still never fails to surprise and thrill us as we watch its stories unfold every spring. I'm Bill McAtee. Thanks for joining us.